Saludos and welcome back. It's your host, Gabe Morales. So I thought I'd give a few updates on the Meros without jeopardizing any cases regarding some major events over the past year that I don't believe I've covered yet on this channel. First off, about a year ago, a low-key MM member named Heraclio, aka Era, aka Durango, aka Zacatecas Sanchez Rodriguez, was mentioned as running a transnational organized drug trafficking ring that specifically targeted the state of Alaska. Sanchez Rodriguez is a Mexican national from Durango who also has people in Zacatecas, and it is stated that he was made a carnal shortly after he took out a norteño at Solano prison in 1986. He was allegedly stamped by Raul Sherm Leon before he fell from grace. It is said that Era pushed dope in Compton and Pomona, California, as well as other parts of the United States, while incarcerated in California state prisons. It said that he communicated with his suppliers in Mexico and their associates and smuggled huge quantities of fentanyl, heroin, and methamphetamine to some of the state of Alaska's smallest villages via a network of postal shippers and drug couriers. In one case, a woman incarcerated at Highland Mountain Correctional Center recruited a fellow female inmate just prior to her release to join the drug trafficking ring. That woman, the U.S. Attorney's Office alleges, quickly rose through the group's ranks and was involved in what prosecutors said was the killing of two Alaska women near Trapper Creek on orders of Sanchez Rodriguez. It's well known that Alaska's drug market can be very lucrative, with drugs selling for far more than what they fetch on the streets of Southern California, and the prices would go up as it reached more remote areas of the state, in a simple case of supply and demand. Sanchez Rodriguez was serving a lengthy prison sentence at Salinas Valley State Prison when in 2022 through 23, he allegedly smuggled cell phones to communicate with his suppliers down in Mexico and partnered with individuals in California to send the drugs to Alaska, according to one of the federal indictments. Two of his daughters and a sister have also been accused by federal prosecutors of helping him in the operation. Evidently, from prison, Sanchez Rodriguez communicated with Cristina Quintana, who is an inmate at the Highland Mountain Correctional Center in Eagle River. She had been sentenced to 22 and a half years on charges stemming from a violent robbery over a drug debt in 2018. She was often referred to as being Sanchez Rodriguez's wife, and the indictment states that Quintana was the main organizer of this particular criminal enterprise. While at the correctional facility, prosecutors allege that Quintana recruited Tamara Bren, who was incarcerated on a drug-related charge. After she was released, Bren went from receiving drugs to acting as a high-ranking member of the drug trafficking organization, and was also referred to by Sanchez Rodriguez as being his wife, according to the indictment. Sanchez Rodriguez allegedly kept a handwritten ledger in his prison cell documenting approximately $250,000 in wire transfers to him and his associates, and it is believed that he made much more money than that. Total, 54 people were charged via 9 indictments in connection with the scheme.
Welcome back. A major gang bust in San Diego. Authorities say Mexican Mafia prisoners directed gang members on the outside to commit violent crimes.
That has led to dozens of arrests. Juliet Vara has more.
This case is one of the greatest of our time.
Authorities declaring Operation Los Impuestos as one of the biggest in San Diego history.
The level of lawlessness, ruthlessness that these cartel and gang members displayed are stunning.
Surrounded by dozens of trafficked weapons now off San Diego streets, District Attorney Summer Stephan detailed how this investigation has disrupted the Mexican Mafia, known as La M. It's the largest prison gang in the United States.
And essentially, they are shot callers that coordinate with Mexican cartels, and they also then give essentially orders to our street gangs, multiple gangs, on what they're supposed to do. Who are they supposed to execute because they didn't pay the tax? What business should they blow up?
Stephan says other orders from behind bars have included harassing and imposing mafia-style taxes on local businesses in areas like downtown, City Heights, and Barrio Logan.
They were told that if you call law enforcement, what we're doing to you now will only get worse. We'll vandalize your business. We'll burn your business. We will beat your employees. We will kill you and your employees.
Officials saying street gangs were also ordered to push drugs and weapons, all their actions terrorizing residents.
We had a case in southeast San Diego where there were over 20 rounds exchanged on a residential street over a drug and taxing dispute. And when we went and served that search warrant, the neighbors came out and said, "Thank you for coming. We've been dealing with these people that we are scared to death of in our own neighborhood."
About 30 suspected criminals were arraigned Tuesday in downtown San Diego as part of this investigation that police say isn't over yet.
This needs to be a message to those who wish to do harm for organized crime. You can expect more of this if you exist here in our county.
Reynaldo Ronnie Ayala Medrano has been named in yet another criminal plot, one of many he has been mixed up in over the last 5 decades. Sentenced in 1989 for murdering 3 men in a San Diego auto repair shop, Ayala's latest charges say he oversaw an alliance with the Sinaloa cartel, offering protection to its incarcerated former leader, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. It wasn't clear from the indictment whether Chapo Guzman ever accepted Ayala's alleged offer. Guzman is currently serving a life sentence at ADX Florence, where he is on no contact status with other inmates. The Mexican Mafia shot caller and his brother Hector, who was also involved in the murders, turned San Quentin's death row into a base of power. Law enforcement authorities and gang defectors say collecting numerous extortion payments, trafficking in large amounts of drugs, and orchestrating acts of violence. Ayala, while on death row, was involved in many movies, such as the death of Jimmy Primo Palma on October 15, 1997, just 3 weeks after he arrived on death row for a messy hit that Palma was involved in, whereby 2 innocent children were also killed. Ronnie also put previously well-respected Samoan MMA member Freddie Smokey Fuyava on no-good status for allegedly cutting him short on a dope deal. The Ayalas were able to conduct these activities through their vast network of underlings, running all the way from Mexico up until Seattle, Washington. Federal prosecutors in Sacramento state that Ayala conspired with members of the Sinaloa cartel to distribute methamphetamine, heroin, and fentanyl all along the western United States. Ayala, who was transferred from San Quentin, where he remained for many years, to Centinela State Prison after Governor Gavin Newsom shut down death row, has yet to enter a plea. According to the indictment and key witness interviews with the FBI, Ayala carved up San Diego with his brother Hector and fellow Mexican Mafia member Richard Cheeks Buchanan. Buchanan was given the east side of San Diego and much of the South Bay, while Hector got North County and Chula Vista. Ronnie had control over Spring Valley, Paradise Hills, National City, and everything else. According to witness statements, Ayala collected a regular payment called the light bill from the San Diego County jail systems, which he split with his brother and Cheeks. Every module in that jail system with Serranos was required to contribute $50 a month through Cash App, one witness told agents. The Ayalas also ran other rackets. Some of their crews brought in methamphetamine from Tijuana and shipped it up to San Bernardino or as far away as Texas. Others ran casitas, illegal gambling parlors, where people could use drugs and often buy sex, according to witnesses. San Diego prosecutors charged 7 people in 2022 with operating a trap house in an Encanto neighborhood for the Ayalas. It is stated that Ronnie's representative in San Ysidro, Juan Sleepy Castro, oversaw loan sharking and human smuggling operations, in addition to selling drugs. Castro was sentenced in 2023 to 10 years in prison for trafficking methamphetamine. The indictment states that Ayala collected taxes from Riverside, Sacramento, San Francisco, and even up in Seattle. 2 reputed members of Seattle's United Locotes 13 gang, who run under the Sureño umbrella, Samuel Payaso Morales, who's a rapper, and Alex Menes Rodriguez, were accused of extorting an unnamed musician whose property was burned. Also assisting Ayala in taxing the sale of drugs from Sinaloa was Angel Snappy Esparza, who was sent to death row for murdering 3 people in Riverside County. Another individual, Ronald Temper Sepulveda, was named as a main supporter by the Ayalas and reportedly oversaw their affairs in Riverside County, including the extortion of other musicians. Alan Frankie Chino Fong, a San Jose gang member serving a 17-year prison term for assault, was charged with collecting taxes for the Ayalas while held in Solano State Prison. Last year, Vice TV ran an episode on Florencia 13, and while I was not credited on that show, I assisted them with many of the photos and other details for that piece. One individual depicted on that show was Juan Antonio Topo Garcia Perez, who is considered to be one of the top shot callers of the gang. Topo was gravely wounded in late 2024, and one of his bodyguards, Eric Ortiz, died on the scene from gunshot wounds. According to reports, a group of gang members who were not veterans rented a Veterans of Foreign Wars hall for a party. Most attendees had left the party by the time police responded to the shooting. According to reliable sources, after the attempted assassination of Topo Garcia, he was in a coma for a couple of days, but did not die, contrary to some initial reports I heard, and he is currently still among the living. Garcia served more than 17 years in federal prison for racketeering and was released from the BOP on June 24, 2020. Approximately a year after his release, LA Police Department officers who were patrolling 64th Street in South LA saw a silver Volkswagen Passat double parked on the wrong side of the street. Reports state that they saw the driver, Garcia, hand a gun to a man standing next to the car, and the man took off running. Police caught up with him. The 31-year-old member of the gang seemed afraid to answer any questions and denied even knowing Garcia. But the ploy didn't work. Found guilty of possessing a gun as a convicted felon, Garcia was sent back to federal prison in 2022 to serve 15 months. As far as this shooting, as you know, I don't like commenting on current events that haven't been adjudicated yet, or guesstimating about persons without some solid evidence. But it sounds to me like Topo definitely knew his assailants. It appears that some younger F-13 were loyal to him from one crew, but another rival crew did not like the veterano being out in the street and trying to run things, and they let him know. Some people point to the fact that Topo was a registered sex offender under Megan's Law for a 1983 conviction of forcible rape in a oral copulation of a minor under 14 years of age, when he would have been 22 years old. But I find it very hard to believe that this wasn't known for most of his career. I mean, these types of things are easily found in newspapers and are usually known in the barrios amongst most gangsters, so I'm sure word would have reached the Pinta. But sometimes these guys will get a pass on that. For instance, if the girl was a very mature 14 or 15 years old, and they were 18 or so when it happened. In this case, she was under 14, so I guess that was getting close to the no pass, no excuse zone, but some felt it was swept under the rug anyways. To me, a more feasible explanation is that Topo bumped heads with rising F-13 star Leonel Wizard Laredo and brothers Tablas and Babos Castellanos before his death. And word on the street and in the Pinta was that Topo was not splitting proceeds like they thought he should, and he had some other things going against him. It is my belief that at least one, if not both, Tablas and Wizard would have had to okay the shooting of Topo. Apparently, Topo is still trying to run his ops and make a comeback as an MA member in good standings. We'll see. It has been done before, but not often. And so, that's all I have for you this episode. I hope you found these updates to be interesting and that you stay tuned in. Don't forget to share this channel with your friends as we continue growing to reach that 20,000 mark. Thanks for your support and for your respectful comments. For now, this is Gabe Morales signing off for Gangsters, Cops, and Politicians.